Woohoo! YouTube things for live. Off we go into the world of Never Never Land. We pre-stream to make sure everything's working the way it's supposed to. We got a few minutes here as we just sort of play and see what we can pull together.
That's true.
Oh, that sounds so weird. Hang on. There we go.
What sounded weird?
Well, the YouTube video started playing, and then I was hearing everything all over again, and I couldn't tell what was your voice and what was the recorded thing from YouTube, so it was weird.
Yeah, okay.
It's all your fault, of course.
Sure, why not?
It works.
Why not? Don't really.
Squirrel!
It can be all.
It'll make it more entertaining for the rest of us. Besides, I hate taking responsibility.
I'm gonna touch that. Touch that. Behave myself here.
So is it actually as warm outside as it seems?
Yeah, it's 13 degrees out there.
It's so nice. I have the window open, and it actually doesn't feel like I'm letting in old man winter.
Yeah,
it's nice and nice and fresh.
Temperature's climbing for the week. We're gonna hit 20 degrees or 22 degrees by end of the week.
I know. I'm so excited.
Actually, 24 on Friday.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm so happy about this.
But then the following week, it's gonna cool right down and be cloudy and a little bit of rain.
Yeah. I know, but we're gonna have warmth for like almost a whole 3-4 days. It's just proof that summer is actually limping its way back.
Yeah, it's finding its way back. Always does. All right.
Yeah, but winter always feels like it takes forever.
Made for a nice working out there. Some people complain that summer takes forever. I have no idea why they complain, because they complain when it's hot, they complain when it's cold. I guess you just need to complain.
I guess so. I mean, I don't like the winter. I like spring and summer. And I'm okay with fall. But spring, at least here we actually get a spring. Like, I've lived in Alberta. They don't really get a spring. It's just one day there's a bunch of snow, and then the next day it is piping hot and the snow is all melting, and there's your summer.
Yep. Pretty much
there is no spring there.
Nope. And not much of a fall.
Nope, it's one day it's piping hot, and the next day all the leaves are gone and you have 2 feet of snow. I don't really like that kind of weather. I like my spring, especially. I like fall, and those seasons don't seem to actually exist everywhere on the planet.
No, not really. Not really. That's all right.
I was trying to explain to the girls about how a person from a warm climate, why they would feel so cold on a day like today. I was trying to explain to them the whole idea of the temperature never actually dropping below 15, even at nighttime in the middle of winter. And I think their brains kind of got stuck on the idea of no snow.
Oh well.
It's kind of fun to watch.
There's one thing, we had a extended winter here this year.
Yeah, it was a very wet winter.
Very wet and snowy, just like the almanac predicted.
Actually, they said mild and snowy, and it really was mild, because we kept getting like warm-ish weather, but
they said
it was also very snowy.
They said wet and snowy.
Yeah, I thought they said mild and snowy.
No, they said damp and snowy. Couldn't figure out how they came to that conclusion, but came to that conclusion. That's what it was. It was pretty wet and rainy.
The only time that the Farmer's Almanac has actually been wrong is when nobody liked what they printed, so they reprinted it to what everyone wanted, and that was the forecast that was incorrect.
Yep, they know how to read the solar signs. They're really good at it. Their own unique formula for analyzing the solar patterns.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool to learn. I wonder if they keep the secret locked up tight in a vault or something.
They do. And only a few people are allowed to know it. Ever since the first guy put it all together.
You know, that's fair.
Well, that's their key to success for over 100 years.
Mm-hmm.
It's having a formula that nobody seems to be able to find the answer to.
And slowly but surely, they are now getting all the information that you need for planting in the various, what do they call them? They call them sections or zones. But they're getting all the planting information you need to like really start and really grow your various veggies and herbs in the various sections or zones.
Mm-hmm.
They aren't totally right in some areas yet, but from what I can tell, they are working really hard to get all that information together so it can all be found by everyone in the same place, which I think is really cool.
The problem you got is, they have these zones, but in every zone there's tons of microclimates.
Microclimates are a pain.
And microclimates, if you happen to get the wrong microclimate, you could fall down 1 to 3 zones. While everyone else can grow stuff, you can't just because of your microclimate. Or if you get lucky, you could have a microclimate that increases your zone.
Yeah, like the guy who was able to grow bananas in his front yard, but over next door, they couldn't even grow an apple tree properly.
Yeah. Well, that happens in neighborhoods where people can grow fantastic tomatoes because of the way the air flows across it and everything else. And, a block over, tomato plants freeze. Oh, just microclimates, that's all.
Hey, maybe that's the problem with your carrots. Maybe your microclimate is wrong.
Could be. We'll find out. They're in a different bed this year. We'll see what happens this year. This will be the fourth bed I've planted them in.
Yep.
I've moved them to different beds across as I find more and more about growing carrots.
Well, if this bed doesn't work, do you have any more beds to try, or are you just kind of going to try something else?
I'll figure out something else. I'll give up growing carrots if I can't grow them this time.
You could always grow them up higher on a balcony.
No, that's not the problem. They get plenty of sun. Well, the first bed didn't get plenty of sun. The second bed, so-so. Last year's bed, decent sun. This bed, they're in this year, way more sun.
Ah. So they like sunshiny.
They do. I didn't realize they like sunshiny. As you work through all the different things, why isn't this growing? You research and research and research.
I every time I think about growing carrots, my mind goes back to the childhood memory of Winnie the Pooh and the rabbit that grew carrots.
Mm-hmm.
Every time I think about carrots.
Yeah, well, Crazy things. All right, a little bit of music. Carry us into showtime.
These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. A quarter after midnight, and I'm watching the wall. Sometimes I feel so uptight, I just can't sleep at all. Every day doing the same old thing, we're losing time. The weekend comes, we gotta have some fun and rewind. These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. I feel the rope tightening, choking off our air. We need to grab some lightning. Friday's almost here. Caught in a web, we need to cut this thread we're hanging by. Where is it said you have to be half dead to survive? These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the
us to wind this puppy up. Shall we go?
Absolutely.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for WordPress Plugins A to Z, not Z.
It's episode 597, and we have plugins for Poets of the Mail, Duplicating, and WordPress News, all coming up on WordPress Plugins from A to Z. WordPress. It's the most popular content management and website solution on the internet. And with over 80,000 plugins to choose from, how do you separate the junk from the gems? Join us for a weekly, unrehearsed conversation about the latest and greatest in WordPress plugins. This is WordPress Plugins from A to Z. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you happen to be hiding out there on the globe today. Coming to you direct from the Oasis, deep in the heart of the Cowichan Valley. I'm John Overall, and with me is the ever lovely
Amber overall.
And we have the usual show for you today. Lots of great things happening here. A couple of really cool things. And one little quick announcement for me is stay tuned. Later this week, we finally have another interview with a developer coming up. So coming out later this week will be another interview from us with all kinds of others. You know, little by little, we're bringing this show right back to where it belongs. So without too much further ado.
Thank you for sharing, John. Now get down from that soapbox.
I still love that thing.
Mm-hmm. That's why we
So
still use
welcome.
it.
Pardon?
That's why we still use it.
Absolutely. So welcome to episode 597. I like the title you came up with today. It's just The Show Continues.
It went with the artwork.
That's true. Hopefully everyone out there is so far enjoying our lovely, still rather new setup for the show. Like you said, same old show, but new layouts, new different things. There's a couple new sections added to it as well. Regarding other things, I've noticed that my cats are kind of experiencing a little bit of the spring fever. Like, they're not only singing to the walls, but they're also trying to climb the walls. Now the window is open, so they can just go outside. Hopefully everyone out there is able to get some sunshine too, though, because we're having their first actual warm week in, kind of feels like forever to me, but it's getting warm. I'm happy. Summer's coming. It's exciting.
Oh, yeah.
Hopefully everyone else out there is getting some sunshiny warmth too. Now we have some reminders before we start the show today. Even though we've changed the show layout, we haven't changed the time. So the time is still going to be noon 30 or 12:30 Pacific time. Our pre-stream still starts at 12:15 Pacific time on Mondays. So that's going to stay the same, even though we're still going to keep tweaking at the show a little bit. And we would love to hear back from our listeners out there. Let us know if you think something should be added, removed, changed, tweaked, what have you. We'll see what we can do. Our show notes for each episode can be found at wppluginsa2z.com. The newest show notes will be up within 24 hours and on our front page. And don't forget that this is a value for value show and that you are a big part of its creation. You are our producers and we need you to help us produce. Get on out there and hit some like buttons, share an episode or two, and let people know that you helped to produce the longest running WordPress Plugins podcast. And that's it for reminders, so let's head on over to the art.
Alrighty, off we go.
Okay, so the art today is Jay Saliba?
Saliba, I think.
Saliba. Okay, so Jay Saliba. I thought this was a really cool one. You're right, it does totally go with
Hold on.
what's going on.
Something just started thumping. There's a thump going on. What the heck is happening here? You don't hear it?
It sounds like your sound is going off and on.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. Oh, man. What the heck is happening here?
That sounds really odd to me. I wonder if I'm doing it too.
Something's freaking out. Oh, what the heck is going on here? There it is. I found it.
Okay, what
I found
was
it.
that?
That is really bizarre. Okay. I'll have to edit that little chunk out. I'm actually going to have to edit today. That sucks.
Yeah. What caused that?
The piece I pulled out from my speaker to plug in my headphones slid down underneath and was grounding against the mixing board.
Okay. So
Okay.
it was wires touching that shouldn't have been touching kind of deal, or metal
Yep.
touching
Yep.
that shouldn't have been?
Something like that. It was
Okay,
grounding. It was grounding out. That's all I can tell you. Those that know sound know exactly what was happening.
Yeah, that was not enjoyable.
No, that was not enjoyable.
Okay, so back to our artist, Jay Saliba.
Yep.
This is an older art. This is. Blah, my tongue is all tied up now. You threw off my whole vibe, man.
Not my fault.
No, I'll blame your headphones. I'll yell at them later. So this is an older piece of artwork, yes?
Yeah, everything's an old piece of artwork. We have no new artwork. We'll let you
Double
folks
checking.
know as soon as the artists get cracking again. We'll let people know.
I was just double checking because I've never seen it before, and I hadn't seen it when I was looking through our art vaults. So I figured, better double check. I do like it though. It's pretty trippy. Kind of makes me think of. Well, it makes me think of my daughter's art. Actually, it's kind of the way that she draws her trippy little characters. Pretty cool. If anybody else is interested in sending in art or in checking out the art vaults themselves, they can head on over to WP Plugins A-Z.com/art. What is that?
Hold on, we're still having some. All of a sudden, we're having audio issues. Still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
How about now? There it is.
That sounds a lot better. Whew.
It's just weird.
The gremlins decided to wake up. I guess they slept in today.
I guess. All right. Well, that one was odd. Hopefully that's not too much. All right. Well, let's continue on our merry little way. You found out about the art. We need more art. Let's just jump right into...
Please, can everybody be quiet? Please be quiet. Shut up! And now the news with Amber.
Okay, so the first thing we have for you today, as always, is the WordPress Vulnerability Report for April 19th, 2023. As usual, there are a lot of plugins that have had vulnerabilities patched. Be sure to go through and checkmark the ones that have had their patch so you can either reactivate them or reinstall them, whatever you might want to do. And there is a fairly long list of plugins with vulnerabilities. Now, when a plugin has a vulnerability, be aware that the vulnerability may not be there tomorrow. So when you notice that your plugin has a vulnerability, go back and check regularly to see when that vulnerability is patched. Because by the time that they've reported, as of April 19th, that's when this report came out, as of, you can go back and check today, April 24th, and some of those vulnerabilities may have already been patched. So be sure to go and check this a lot. You will find the link here in our show notes. The plugins that I most easily recognized were Enable Acceptability, WP Easy Pay, Square for WordPress. I know that one is used quite a bit. Database Collation Fix, Simple Pop-Up, WP Roles at Registration, and Events Made Easy. So do go and check out the list. There are a couple of themes that have been patched as well, and a couple of themes that are currently dealing with vulnerabilities. The ones having issues are EduCenter and BloggerBuzz. Have you heard of BloggerBuzz before?
Can't say that I have.
Yeah, it seems BloggerBuzz is actually something that people are... I don't know, it seems like more people than I thought use it. It surprised me.
I don't use a lot of themes.
Yeah, me either.
Not
I'm pretty
anymore.
happy with Elementor.
Yeah, not anymore. Elementor's ability to customize a theme is way beyond everything I was doing with themes.
Mm-hmm. Next up, we have WooCommerce 7.6 introduces single product details block and add to cart button form block.
Cool.
So The 2 buttons in this latest release may very well save the sanity for some out there. Along with the button, the Add to Cart form will automatically display additional options depending on if the product has a set available quantity or variations. For those designing with patterns, this release has improved its mini cart's performance with content preloaded and an appearance that more closely matches the site's active theme. This new release will also make it easier to get more consistent design with improved scalable margins for patterns using products block. There is more that they've done with this release, so be sure to go and find the link in our show notes here to learn more. Another thing for WooCommerce is that WooCommerce launches Woo Express. So Woo Express is a new managed hosting product that uses WordPress.com's infrastructure and relieves store owners of the responsibility of hosting and maintenance. The company soft launched Woo Express in early March with a selection of visitors, but has concluded that phase and is now open to the public. You can go and check this out yourself, especially if you go to our show notes, links right there.
Yep. That's a
I'm
nice.
not sure.
That's a nice thing for them, because there's a lot of people that don't want the headache of
Yeah.
managing their own hosting and store, and this can save them some grief. They can just go in and add their products and customize the theme.
Yeah, I'm not sure if how well it's going to be working. Obviously, it's working well enough for them to open it to the public, but
Oh, it's going to work great for them.
yeah.
Oh yeah, it's their answer to the competition that that little diddly squiddly
I'm not sure.
Wix and the other company out there. Come on, it's where everybody itsy bitsy place. I can't remember the name of it.
Brizzy? No, that's not
No.
right.
No, why am I not remembering the name?
Because it's a weird name?
No, well, they're all weird names. They started making them all weird names because all the normal names were taken as domains. So when companies started launching themselves, the fad started about 10 years ago. They were trying to create new companies, and so they had to come up with, new names, acronym kind of names that people could manage.
All right.
We're having problems with our mixing board. I got to replace it. Donations,
So
folks,
it's
so we can
the
replace
mixing board's screaming and
Yeah,
it's
something. I think something just went crazy on it when it had that boop 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 on it. And now it's having the occasional glitch in it.
come on, where's the
I don't know. Where's it at?
Glitch.
All right. So anyway, I think it's going to work out for WooCommerce, and it's their answer to the competition that's out there for
Okay.
people.
Next thing we have here is Virtuoso launches version 2.0 of its application platform for WordPress. So Virtuoso
See, that's what I mean.
is
That's what I mean about crazy names.
yeah. These guys are a software company, and they are the ones behind the virtualization and cloud management capabilities of many popular hosting service providers like GoDaddy. On the WordPress platform, they enable service providers to sell containerized hosting as a service. Most recent updates introduces a new user interface for WordPress customers that makes it easy to configure resources, adjust scaling, pay invoices, and deploy WordPress sites. I have a question though. What is containerized hosting as a service?
I have no idea.
I couldn't really find a clear answer on
There
that.
probably isn't a clear answer. It just sounds like geek speak to scramble people's minds. Like, oh, that sounds cool. Let's go. I don't know, man.
I think they could have just said hosting.
Yeah, it's like listening. It's like listening to geek speak on Star Trek or something, and anyone who knows what they're talking about goes, "What the hell are they talking about?"
Next, we have WordPress contributors continue exploring migration of public and private messages from Slack to Matrix. I brought this to the show a little while ago when they first started talking about moving everything from Slack over to a Matrix, where it would be more of an open federated source chat. So they haven't really come to a conclusion yet.
That's not why I'm laughing. They're
Why?
migrating everyone from Slack into the Matrix. Matrix is a new communications tool. They're replacing Slack with Matrix.
Yes.
So basically, they're migrating everyone from Slack to the Matrix. And aside from the term migrating them all to the Matrix, it's just like, oh, Slack is no longer cool. Slack is no longer cool. It's time to move it all to the Matrix.
Yeah, every time I read that they're moving it all to the Matrix, I just kind of have to giggle to myself.
Yeah.
I like the name a lot.
Yeah, well, I just find it funny. Everyone's like, "Oh, it's the coolest thing," until a few years later, it's not the coolest thing. Let's move to the next coolest thing. Well, this one still functions. I know, but we want the next coolest thing.
Well, their most recent update is the status of recent experiments in migration.
Mm-hmm.
So it's currently being looked into as to whether or not the Apache 2.0 Slack Matrix migration tool could work for this project.
Yeah.
We don't know. We'll find out more. Apparently they're meeting bi-weekly. At least they're meeting bi-weekly on this now, because I believe this was first mentioned like 3-4 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's one of those things, if this is something that you're interested in, then it's good to know that they are actually talking about. Communication is happening, plans are being made.
Yeah.
And then the last one I have here today is you can now eat dinner in outer space for just 120,000 euros.
I got an extra 120,000 euros. Let's go up in a balloon 25 kilometers from above the Earth and have dinner.
Yep.
Yeah. I can
It's
see.
a 6-hour round trip.
Uh-huh.
And you get to have gourmet food, gourmet wine, some photography, some just all kinds of cool stuff. But I just thought it was interesting that, right now this is like the new Space Needle.
Yep.
Right now it's 120,000 euros, and soon I'm sure it'll only be 120 bucks.
No, it'll always cost a lot of money. Might not be 120 grand, but it's still going to cost a fair chunk of change.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we also have the extras here. So for anyone interested, we have some interesting things regarding ChatGPT, some AI information, some all kinds of random stuff here. You'll find that in the extras in our show notes.
Excellent.
Now, on to dragon rating time.
All right. Alrighty, we do have a plugin for you. What I've got for you today is one that I have covered a few times in the past. In fact, I've even gone so far as to interview the developer of the plugin before Automatic acquired it. This is MailPoet. Really useful plugin. It came to my attention a few years ago, and when did I do this interview? I did this interview way back. Oh, the date's not on our post anymore. That's weird.
Huh, that is kind of weird.
Oh, there it is. November 13, 2019. So I bit back in November of 2019. I interviewed the developer, and it was with Kim Gerstott, and he was one of the developers of MailPoet, and it was just about 2 months out and from that point that Automatic acquired them, and it was shortly after they had just introduced their mailing service. So they put together a fantastic service and a plugin, and it is a great plugin. And the reason you might want to go into using MailPoet is simply because, using a third-party service such as MailChimp or any of the other dozens of other mailing softwares out there, not all of them have 100% easy integration with WordPress, especially MailChimp. Maybe they do now. I haven't used them now for 3 or 4 years, but they didn't at the time that I moved into MailChimp. Or not MailPoet, the time I moved into MailPoet. When I moved into MailPoet, it's because I just got tired of the effort involved in cut, paste, creating a new newsletter every single time that didn't just automatically grab stuff that I'd already put up on my website. So I moved into MailPoet for newsletters. And the nice thing about MailPoet is it allows you to, one, get rid of the third-party services, and it makes your life so much easier for creating your auto emails. You can have it automatically pull your latest post, your latest content, It is full integration into WooCommerce, so you can set up into WooCommerce all the different things you need, such as a welcome newsletter, you've made your first purchase at our store, here's a coupon code or some other thing to keep them coming back and purchasing, abandoned shopping cart emails, and more. I wanted to make it all real easy in what I was doing with it, and I finally sat around. One of the biggest things is it does take a little bit of work to wrap your head around it, and I kept coming back to it and back to it. Well, a few weeks ago, I finally just buckled down and sat down, worked with it for a couple, 3-4 hours, and got everything tweaked out, all the settings and everything else, fully functioning. Tested the emails, tested the auto publishing of the newsletters, making sure all of that works. Now, I want to give you a couple of heads ups of things that I did discover over my time with MailChimp, with MailPoet. Why is MailChimp stuck in my head? With MailPoet. One of them is you're using their sending service. Now, they give you this option when you're setting up the plugin to send all the emails that your WordPress website creates via their sending service. Don't do it. One, you will burn through your allocation of 5,000 emails that are free per month. You'll burn through them fairly fast because, as anyone who has a WordPress website knows, it generates a lot of emails to the administrator of the site. It generates this update notice, this notice here, this notice here. If you've got security plugins, it generates security notifications. The list goes on. So don't let MailPoet manage all the emails. Let it manage only the emails for the newsletter, and it'll work great. Be cautious in how you set up your forms for when people register for your newsletter, because you'll get spammed to death. They have a lot of protections in here to help you prevent that problem, and also make sure your newsletter lists are clean and workable. Now, they do have, when you're going through and setting it up and creating your newsletters, they do have templates for you to work with, which is nice because the templates help you get a starting point and save you some time of trying to figure out what goes where or how to do it. The templates are really nice and easy to use. The free version of it that you download, and they do have a premium version. Their premium version here and their plans and pricings kind of vary, and it's very useful. But the free version allows you to send up to 5,000 emails per month and up to 1,000 subscribers. Now, unless you're getting really big, you're not going to get beyond that, and so you'll hang in there. If you got to pay for it, it starts to move into a little bit of money, $10 per month for every 500 subscribers. So if you've gone free and you've got your 1,000 subscribers, now you're at $20 a month. So keep that in mind when you want to come in there. Now, the differences between the plans, there's not a lot of differences, but they are semi-significant. First one is remove the MailPoet branding. Well, that doesn't bother me. Most people use the free version of MailChimp, so the branding's there. The next biggest items is you can't do advanced segmentation of your lists with the free version. That is the one thing that's missing. And then further down the line, you don't get detailed stats. You get basic stats on the email, just to summarize statistics of, what opened, did your emails get delivered, et cetera, et cetera. And of course, you don't get any support except through the forums for the free service. Other than that, it's really good at hanging the free. I know I'll be using the free version for a while. I'll wait until I've maxed out my 1,000 subscribers and that I'm sending more than 5,000 emails a month. Because once you go start paying for it, you can go to unlimited emails per month. And that might be the biggest benefit. If you've gotten to 1,000 subscribers, it's very easy to have 5,000 emails a month. Consider send one email every week or 2 weeks to 1,000 subscribers, you can quickly peg out. Also, if you have people signing up, that burns through your emails. So on the whole, MailPoet has come a long way, even though initially after Automatic acquired it, I sort of abandoned it for a little while because it wasn't working the way it was when previous developer, but they've improved it since and they've made it so it's more functional again. Basically, they bought it, broke it, and then decided to fix it. So all in all, it's still working pretty good, even though Automatic owns it, and I'm quite happy with it. If You want to check it out. You want to have control over your data and have control over your newsletters. MailPoet's definitely a way to go. On the whole, really good, well worthwhile. I give it a 4 dragon rating.
That definitely seems like there's a lot more to it than I initially realized.
Yeah.
Do you have to like go digging for the settings in order to find them all, or are they all pretty easily accessible?
They're accessible, but you got to kind of dig a little bit here and there. You just got to cover back and forth over them. Like, oh, I want to do this. I'm going to go check to say, oh, yeah, there it is. It's I don't know how to describe it. It takes a while to go digging through them and get them all tweaked out and adjusted and everything else.
Okay, here's another question for you. Are the settings and everything really easily understandable, or do you need to have a bit of developer information in your brain in order to understand what the settings mean?
You don't really need much developer information in your brain to understand the settings. You just need to test and check the settings.
All right. We have our newer segment here, WordPress Tips. I forgot we had a sound for it now. And in this segment, I would love if people would reach out and like maybe let us know some of the things that they've come across, because so far I'm just putting information here that I've stumbled across in my experiences, just little things here and there. If you would like to add your stuff in, please feel free. You can send it to me at amber@wppro.ca. Here, I'll even type it into the chat here, and I will get it in here. So yeah, first one I have here is Elementor Pro. The one thing that I could think of to bring today is when using the theme builder, don't forget about the default kit. When I was first getting used to utilizing the theme builder, like in its total capability, I neglected to do anything with the default kit. And I found myself wondering why the typography and site colors just weren't showing up quite right in the themes and all across the board. Even though I set it up what I thought was properly, I hadn't done anything in the default kit. Now, when you use the default kit, you set the typography, the colors, the sizes, all the different things. You set them up in the default kit and they will be all across the board for your entire theme setup. You can also go into the global settings and do everything there. But if you are wanting to use the theme builder in Elementor, be sure to do your settings initially in the default kit. It helps, it makes it a lot smoother. You don't even have to think about once you set it all up.
Yep. Very important to use that default kit initially if you're going to use the Elementor. I mean, over the years since I've been using Elementor, I think I've had Elementor now for about 4 years. And the big thing, I used to use themes in Elementor, themes that were built for Elementor because I thought it was saving me time. Turns out, not so much. You know, and also I find Elementor's way faster when you don't throw a theme in there. What you want to do is you want to throw the Elementor basic theme in there, the Hello theme from Elementor, and create yourself a child theme for that also. And it's not that hard to create a child theme. There's lots of lessons online because I can't remember the word for some how-tos. Lots of how-tos to do that. So just use the basic Elementor theme, and with that you can customize a theme in ways you didn't even imagine before when using some of the pre-built themes that supposedly make it easier but throw way more code in there that slows it way down to a crawl. So
yeah, I think that's kind of the main reason that Elementor slows down there is because they're so busy translating all the information from the other theme.
Yep.
They don't have the time to do all the other speed up things. That's kind of what I'm finding anyway.
I'm noticing it on a couple of sites that we're rebuilding that are really old and were done with an Elementor. They were done in Elementor, but they were done with an Elementor theme. When we're yanking out all that extra Elementor stuff, it gets way faster. Now, the other thing I learned is with Elementor is don't just throw in because you I use these 3 plugins with all these extra widgets in there. Don't just throw in and turn on those plugins. Don't turn any of them on unless you absolutely are certain you need the widget from that. Yes. And then with those plugins, almost all of them have the ability to turn off all the extra widgets in them. Make sure you do that and only turn on precisely what you need.
By the way, tutorials.
That's it, tutorial. Yay!
Yeah, and like we'll talk more about Elementor Pro next week too. I think that's going to be like a permanent structure there because we work so much with Elementor. We'll just keep bringing in random tips.
Yep.
Next one I have here, right, another thing is I'll also be getting into the global settings for Elementor that you can access from whatever page you're currently editing. I'll be getting into that next week under the Elementor Pro too.
There you go.
So another thing I have here, it may seem a little odd, but it's actually about Slider Revolution Pro. Now this is something that I have done a lot of work in. I actually have some how-to video series that I haven't finished them all. I'm working on them. Hopefully I'll be done them soon. But in this, I was using Slider Revolution Pro and I noticed that my settings page was looking a little wonky. Like the menu was kind of off kilter. The information where you actually, like when you go down, you look for your slides. I had to scroll way down. It was just all blank space the whole way and didn't really understand what it was until I realized that there's this really simple plugin I like called Dobby. All it does is blocks the notifications. That's all it does. But for some reason, it completely messed up my settings page for Slider Revolution. Now, once I deactivated it, was all fine. I was unable to figure out what was causing it. I talked to the creator of Dobby and the developer of Dobby, and I looked as much as I could into both of them. I couldn't figure out what was causing it, but then later down the road, I found another plugin, which I can't remember the name of, but it gives you like these little positive messages. Instead of howdy, it gives you positive messages. That one too messed up my Slider Revolution settings page. So I'm not sure, but I think there's something about the plugins that do that simple thing up in the top area there, blocking notifications, changing the howdy thing, whatever. There seems to be something about those plugins that interacts poorly with Slider Revolution.
Good to know.
Yeah, so if you use Slider Revolution and your settings page goes funny, look first at the simple plugins that do something up at the top of your page there. That's probably your culprit.
Excellent.
And now it's my turn for the plugin. I didn't know you were going to make that sound. Or was I would have shushed.
I decided to. I'm playing with the sounds and other things in this. Going. Now that I've thrown your brain into a loop.
Yeah, so luckily the loop is just everlasting, so it's all good. The plugin I decided to bring today is Duplicate Page. So this is actually a really simple plugin. There is a free version and a pro version. And it essentially does exactly what the title says. It duplicates your pages or posts or custom posts. So I originally came across this in a site that had already been built, but I was just making small changes in the site. And I found it endlessly useful. All you do when all you need to do is tell it to duplicate any page. You can go to, how do I explain this?
I have no idea.
With this plugin, you can create duplicate pages, posts, and custom posts. Once you've downloaded and activated the plugin, you will find the settings for the plugin on the left-hand menu under Settings. And then you go to Duplicate Page. In the settings, you have the option of choosing Elementor, Gutenberg, or all editors for your editor. You can choose what status your duplicated page or post will have once it's made. So you can either have it so it's as soon as the duplicate is made, it's posted, so it's live, or you can keep it as a draft. And you can choose where you go once you have duplicated the page or post. Meaning, if you tell a page or post to duplicate, you can either stay on your list of pages or posts, or you can go straight to the editing page where you can start working on it. There's also an option where you can add a prefix to any duplicated page or post, which makes it a lot easier to tell which one of these are duplicated, because when you duplicate one of these, what you end up having is two identical, same name, same everything. So if you put a prefix of, as in like new or duplicate or whatever you want, you'll know which one is the newer one because of the prefix. There is more options in the Pro version. In the free version, those are the only options you get. But in the Pro version, there is so much more. You have the ability to allow user roles to access the duplicate page, or there's a filter, there's an option to show where, or there's an option where you can show the clone link. Like, there's a lot of things that you can do in the Pro version. Personally, I haven't had any desire to go into the Pro version, but if you have a lot of people who are working on the site at the same time and duplicate page would be a useful thing for them to do, then I could see wanting to go to the Pro version. I think the Pro version is more so geared towards sites that have more than 1 or 2 people working on it, and different levels as well. I also, they do have a banner at the top of the settings page asking you to rate them, but once you exit out of that, it doesn't really come back for a while. Not really all that spammy, and so far as can be seen, there don't seem to be any issues with the plugin not playing nice with others. I've had it on my on my sandbox sites where, you know, it probably shouldn't have worked very well, but it worked just fine. No issues. And they keep it well updated, but they aren't the kind of plugin that updates every couple of weeks. They update every couple of months. And they don't really change the interface. They leave it alone. They have it working, they're leaving it alone. I like that about them too. All in all, I rate this at 4 dragons.
Very cool. Yeah, I use it a lot. I put it in just about any site I'm building.
It makes life so much easier.
Yeah. Saves it because, you know, you create a whole bunch of stuff and you want to use most of that stuff on another page. Just quick, duplicate, done.
Kind of like the layout of a show notes. You
Yep.
keep the layout, but you just change all the content inside of it. Well, you duplicate.
Yep. Saves you time, energy, and grief. All right.
Yeah, it could be useful for making a dev site for a client too. You just hit duplicate a whole bunch.
Yep, absolutely.
It's time to donate to WP Plugins A-Z.
So this is kind of a mixture of sections here. It's our producer know-how and donation segment now. So the know-how is how to join in and be part of your own production and support the show at the same time. So you can reach out to John and get yourself interviewed, or you can send your plugin reviews or suggestion for plugin reviews into us, or you can send in questions or comments, or you can check us out on Facebook and the YouTube channel and make sure you hit that like button and share it out. Get at least a couple of our episodes shared out on your social media, and you're helping to get our name out there, and you're helping us to get noticed. You can also earn yourself a producership credit. We have 3 levels of producers that help to keep the show's larder stocked to the bursting. We have our freelance producers, our backroom producers, and our war room producers. There are special perks for both backroom and war room producers, and you can learn about these on our site at wppluginsa2z.com. You just need to go in, click on time, treasure, or talent donations in our main menu, and you can learn all the nitty-gritty details right there. And let's see. No, we don't have any questions or notes today, but we do have a miscellaneous announcement. That would be the WordPress Victoria meetup. Has that passed yet?
Excuse me. I can't get into it because they want me to log into Meetup, and I don't use meetup.com anymore.
Oh, that would be the wrong login. That's my mistake. I'll make sure I fix that in the notes.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that it's happening closer to, I'm pretty sure it's happening next week, but I'll have to double check that. I'll fix that in the notes. Sorry if I'm incorrect in saying that it's still happening.
Yeah, well, we have no idea. The link takes me to log in for Meetup. Like, no, thank you. I quit using Meetup a long time ago.
Yeah, so did I. It got hard to use, I found.
It did. They had a perfect thing there, and it was working really well. And then they decided to start messing with it and changing it, made it harder to use, harder to share stuff. And it's like, yeah, okay. And I've noticed most of the groups that I was members of, I still get the emails from time to time. Another one of the groups I was members of abandoned and closed up recently. So I mean, I used to run the WordPress meetup at meetup.com.
Mm-hmm.
And then I realized, after a while, it wasn't of value anymore. So I abandoned it, but somebody else picked it up. Like, okay, good luck on it. Have fun with it.
We are looking to have a meetup. We don't know exact date yet, but we're looking to have a meetup once it's warmed up outside.
June, July.
Yeah, so be sure to keep an eye out. Oh, there we go. I think that is the proper link that your alter ego just gave us. Let's see here. Is it still happening or did it already happen? And this is why I don't use Meetup anymore. I have a hard time understanding. May 4th is the next one. Okay, so the next one upcoming is May 4th. And if you follow this link, there is a whole list here of all of the WordPress Victoria meetups that are upcoming. So you can go there, check it out, and join up.
Yeah, according to this, it's happening May 4th, and I guess you have to register to find out exactly where.
And if anybody out there is interested, we have both a real brick and mortar address where you can send in art or notes or donations, or you can reach out to us through our virtual addresses here. You will find all that information right here in our show notes. Today's plugins we covered were?
I covered up Mail Poet. Really great plugin, very useful. Help you create and add newsletter subscription form to your website, manage your subscribers and subscriber list, and build and send newsletters automatically with WordPress. And it just makes the job a whole lot easier once you get it all organized and set up. Check it out. I gave it a 4-dragon rating.
And I covered Duplicate Page by Mind Posing, I think is what these random letters stand for.
It looks like Mind
It's really just a bunch of letters.
Looks like Mind Sing 287.
Mind Sing, okay.
That's what it looks
I like
to me.
that better than Mind Posing.
I see MNDP SINGH. So I see Mind
Okay.
Sing 287.
Well, I covered this, and it does duplication of pages, posts, and custom posts. Simple, but very, very useful.
Yep.
And I rated it at 4 dragons.
Very cool.
It's question and answer time with John and Amber.
So if anyone out there has any questions they'd like to send in to me at amber@wppro.ca, you can send them in, and we will see if we can stump my dad. Still haven't managed yet, gotten close once or twice. Not there yet, though. My first question for you is, what is the simplest way to deal with spammy comments in a WordPress site?
Turn them off.
Just turn off comments?
Turn off comments entirely. That's the
What if
simplest
you
way.
need? What if comments is like part of your whole thing?
Well, then what you want to do is you want to go through the settings, the basic settings under discussions, and make sure that you turn off all the sending or automated stuff, and make sure that if people are going to leave comments, they must be registered, or if you're going to allow anonymous comments, then they have to be held for moderation. Those are the basics, and then you need to add in a reCAPTCHA into it. Add something like anti-spam bee to swat the spam out of the way. That's pretty much the simplest stuff. That's pretty much what I do to websites when I allow comments. I don't allow comments much anymore. Comments used to be a really common thing until they started being abused.
Yeah, the trolls moved in, and we can't get rid of
Oh,
them.
beyond the trolls, man. It's gone beyond the trolls. Trolls are one thing, man. I love trolls. Trolls are fun. They're entertaining. They leave useful comments. They're lots of fun. I love trolls. Bring on the trolls, man. No, we're talking about the spammers, the guys that like, I want to dump 5,000 links into your comment page. Hey, come check out, man. I've got Bitcoin for sale. Buy it here. Yeah.
I think that's the new age trolls. I think we need to come up with a different name for them, though.
Those aren't trolls, man. Trolls are still trolls. The trolls are the people that get in there and they leave nasty messages, or they leave.
Yeah.
Those are trolls.
Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry, trolls. I didn't mean to offend you.
Yes. We like the trolls. Trolls are fun. We could use a few trolls in here. They make for so much entertainment.
We kind of have our usual troll Hendian.
Mm-hmm.
Love having him about.
Yeah.
So So my second question is, what is a simple-ish way to speed up a WordPress site?
Remove all the plugins.
But what if you're using all the plugins?
Oh, well, then then you have to go. There is no simple way. Well, I guess the simplest way is to add a caching plugin. That'll speed up your site. The problem is caching plugins are not 100%. I just recently had a problem with a client. I helped them create a custom login page and everything else, and it worked great for about a month. And they do have a caching plugin. And now all of a sudden, the form we customized to create the custom login page, nobody could submit it. So nobody could log into the website.
Oh.
Nobody could log into
no.
it. And I'm like, I've never seen this one before. Okay. So I start digging, get in there. It's like, oh, well, the cache page for that wouldn't send the form anymore.
Oh.
And so you actually have to make sure you go into the caching plugin and exempt that page from being cached so it doesn't get cached. So caching plugins are great. They do speed up your site. And they are the simplest way to do it, is with a caching plugin. But
Just be aware that odd things may happen.
odd things may happen with caching plugins. So it's been the bane of all WordPress developers, is getting WordPress to run fast. And it's like the more plugins you add, it slows it down. Themes, the combination of themes, plugins slows it down. Then your data, images. It's like the combination of speed is so convoluted. There is no real simple way. It's like the simple-ish way is add a caching plugin. Other than that, you want to learn how to go manage your own htaccess file and add in proper codes into the htaccess file for caching. That's what a lot of caching plugins do, is they just dump all the code into your htaccess for you as what they think is correct, but it's not always correct for you. So.
All right. I've got a couple more questions to ask after we play the end of the credits.
All right, well, let's let our girl take us on out of here.
Reminders for the show. All show notes can be found at wppluginsa-z.com. And while you're there, subscribe to the newsletter for more useful information delivered directly to your inbox. WP Plugins A-Z is a show that offers honest and unbiased reviews of plugins created by developers because you support the show. Help keep the show honest and unbiased by going to wppluginsa-z.com/donate and set the donation level that fits your budget. Help us make the show better for you by subscribing and reviewing the show at Stitcher Radio, Google Play, and in the iTunes Store. You can also leave us a review on our Facebook page using wppluginsa-z.com/Facebook. You can also watch the show live on YouTube, check out the screencasts and training videos, and remember to subscribe and hit the bell to get notifications of all new videos. Follow the show on Twitter at WPPluginsA-Z. John can also be reached at his website, johnoverall.com, or email him directly, john@wppro.ca. Thanks for joining us, and have a great day.
Thanks for listening to the show. This show is copyright by johnoverall.com. So until next time, have yourselves a good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you happen to be out there on the globe today.
Indian said there's also offsite caching using services like Cloudflare, no plugin needed, but
Yes.
you can combine with an online caching plugin.
Yes, well, you can buy it, but offsite, Cloudflare has its problems too.
Yeah, they've had some serious issues over the past year alone.
Yeah, there is no straightforward solution that works all the time. The closest I get to solutions that work most of the time with the fewest amount of problems is managing my own htaccess files.
That makes sense.
It's like, but that's going in, and that's not for everybody. You actually got to know coding, and if you don't you'll break your site. I mean, you put a comma in the wrong place in your htaccess file, your whole site goes down.
Yep.
I mean, I've done it, because of my typing skills are slightly better than a monkey at a typewriter. So it's just one of those things. And like I've used CDN networks, I've worked with Cloudflare because I've had customers that use Cloudflare, and I've had various success over the years. So that's basically what it all boils down to.
Well, I've got a couple more questions for you. The first one of the two is, how can you tell if a WordPress error you see is something you can fix yourself or something you need to call in a specialist for?
And go do some research on the error. Find out what the error is about. Because there's so many errors out there, and the internet. How long have I been working on WordPress now? Crap.
Well, say I have never seen an error before and have no idea what you mean. How would you look up the error?
You copy and paste that error into the search engines.
All right.
Basically what you do is you copy and paste that error into the search engines, and not guaranteed, you can almost always, it's very rare that you're the first one to encounter an error. In my 15 years or so that I've been working on WordPress, there's only been one time that I was the first one to the table with an error. With an error solution. I was so stunned that it was that I couldn't find a solution to it, and I spent a fair amount of time sorting it out. When I did, I wrote a big long article about it, and that became my most visited article on my website because I was the first one to find a solution. If you get lucky enough to find a solution, you can drive a shitload of traffic to your website.
I like what Hemdian said here. Life would be boring if everything worked all the time. And we couldn't justify our pay for things if things didn't break.
Yeah.
Even if it was us that broke them.
Yes, there's that problem too. We got to continue our highfalutin pay that we get for being developers.
I know that a lot of times when I've gone to research an error, especially when I was first doing this, I'd go to research the error, and the answers I would get just looked like gobbledygook to me.
Well, then you need to learn to understand the gobbledygook.
And I think that for a person who is running their own site, I think the way that they would be able to tell whether they need a specialist or if they could do it themselves is really, can they understand the explanations of what the error is and how to fix it on their own? If they can't understand that, call in a specialist.
If you can't understand the explanations given by finding out what the error is, you definitely need someone with more skills than you have.
Yes,
it happens to me regularly, so it happens to me, so I call in the guys I know that have more skills than I have.
And take it from me, I have spent days at a time simply to learn what one error was. It takes a long time to turn that gobbledygook answer into something that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yes, I've learned a lot looking up errors.
Well, that's the only way you learn is by looking it up and trying to solve it yourself.
This is why we have sandbox sites, so we can break the heck out of them and learn.
Yep. Just throw things in there and see what pops up.
All right, so the last question I have here.
Mm-hmm.
Which 5 plugins would you recommend a new user install in their brand new WordPress site first, and why?
Anti-Spam Bee, because it deals with your comment spam. And it's way better than that one that's pre-installed. Can't remember what it's called now. It's one automatic sticks in there. That's number 1. Number 2 is I also install, Classic Editor, because I still like it, and also Classic Widgets, because I still like those. I like to be able to read it the way it's understandable, and I have been working at using Gutenberg, but I'm finding I don't use Gutenberg hardly at all since I've really doubled down on using Elementor. And Elementor has fully integrated itself into Gutenberg, so you just don't have to look at the Gutenberg editor. I swear to God, man, they took something that was intelligent and turned it into unintelligent and intuitive. It was highly intuitive, and the Gutenberg editor there's not nearly as intuitive.
That's what I find with it.
You know, I don't know why, but those are three. Gravity Forms, if you can afford it.
Is there a free version?
No, it's
Okay.
100% paid. The beauty of mine is I have a grandfathered license for Gravity Forms. I bought it back when they were brand new developers, and they sold this unique license that was, I'm not even going to tell people how much I pay for it anymore. They can try to figure it out. But I've got an unlimited site license, and I continue to use it. I've been using it now for 12 years.
That's one of the things that maybe people should think about doing is if they come across a plugin that they absolutely love and it's still new, pay for it.
Buy their special licenses they give. Most of them,
Yes.
most of the developers have honored it when they realize that that particular plan that they did isn't going to sustain them, and they start changing their pricing structure. Most of them have honored their initial investors, basically, because I was basically an initial investor in their project, you know, and I continue to pay for it year after year. I just get a significant discount on my license year after year.
Yeah, and if you get like, I've noticed a lot of newer plugins will offer a lifetime license when they're still pretty new. Get it?
Yeah, well,
And-
it's their way of raising cash.
Yeah. So get that lifetime license, and you will forever have an amazing plugin, so long as they actually keep to their word. I have seen some plugins that they don't, and then that really sucks.
Yeah.
But most of them will honor, and they'll grandfather you in and keep you there.
Yep.
What's the last one you would suggest?
I use WordFence Security. I don't turn it on though until I'm finally done with the website, because it sort of gets in the way as you're developing. It's
Why WordFence?
I don't know. I started using it when it was new, and it had some problems during its early couple of years off and on, but they were always fixed, and it seems to do the job. I mean, lots of people use iTheme security. I know I have clients that prefer it, and well, I use it. I'm not overly fond of their interface, and I'm not overly fond of the stuff it does, but some people like it. I mean, and one other plugin I would recommend to folks is WP Mail Logging, to log your emails on WordPress in WordPress.
That's a good one.
Because you want to know if your emails are getting sent out, and WP Logging, I believe, is the one that I have two of them. I keep switching between them, and I forget which one is the most common one. Let me go check another site here. I just installed it on another site I just completely recently rebuilt.
Yeah, rebuilding sites can be really, really fun or really, really frustrating.
Well, it's both.
Yeah.
You get to get rid of the stuff didn't work, and you're still also frustrated with I can't get into the site right now. You're also frustrated with the problem of undoing the stuff that you did and trying to get back to the simple, because it's really hard. It's really hard to undo something you've done that's complex and still maintain the integrity of the site to take it back to simple. It's really hard to do sometimes. So at any rate, there's two of them, and I can't remember the other one right now. But
Hendian actually has 3 suggestions here.
Oh, does he? What's he got?
Child theme configurator, better search replace, and WPS hide login.
Yeah, well, WPS hide login is useful. That's useful to help improve your security by obscurity. The theme configurator, for those that don't know how to create a child theme, yeah, it's very useful. I haven't used it in quite a few years. I keep forgetting it exists. I keep going out there and manually doing my theme. Actually, what I do is I write my child theme once, and I save it in a folder on my computer, and I just FTP it up. So
I have great respect for better search replace, because I have completely destroyed one of my sandboxes with that. It took a while to fix it.
Yeah, well, better search replace, the only reason I use that now, for the most part, is when I'm changing URLs. There's lots
I have
of other
great
ways.
respect for their power.
Oh yeah, well, it goes in and it goes in and makes changes in your database. And once you change the database, unless you have the skills to go in there and work with your database through PHP MyAdmin, you can't fix it. And probably 80% of the people who use WordPress websites don't have that skill. And
That makes sense.
it's just that simple. It's like, and they do have a big warning when you play with it. There's warning, this makes changes to your database. You be careful what you do. And yet people who've been trained to not read those warnings and just click OK through it find themselves in a world of hurt. All right, well, that's it.
Yeah.
Decent show. I think we'll call it a day there. We appreciate everyone who showed up and had fun listening to us babble on. And let's have a little music. Carry us on.
These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. A quarter after midnight, and I'm watching the wall. Sometimes I feel so uptight, I just can't sleep at all. Every day doing the same old thing, we're losing time. The weekend comes, we gotta have some fun and rewind. These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. I feel the rope tightening, choking off our air. We need to grab some lightning. Friday's almost here. Caught in a web, we need to cut this thread we're hanging by. Where is it said you have to be half dead to survive? These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. These are the days of thunder.
Alrighty, folks. That's all we got now. Take care. Bye-bye.
Take care.
Glitch, glitch, glitch.